Judges Greg Jefferson and Gilbert Garcia. We'll start our next round of questioning with Councilman Ray Lopez. Since we were talking about paying members of council as they do in other cities, that's come up in every one of these forums, Councilman. What would be your position on salaries for the mayor and the city council, acknowledging the fact that it is a full-time job?
Well, there's no doubt that there was a resounding opinion of the public several years ago saying that they did not support that. I think then and now, I think it certainly merits us looking at it. Obviously, it's going to be by referendum whether it gets passed or not. I think one of the things that has to happen, though, before we really address council pay is defining what the charter requires of their council people. Today, there's no question that the charter defines what we're supposed to be doing, and quite honestly, of the 10, including the mayor, that makes 11 of us, report to work every day doing things that are not required of us of the charter. It's required of us because we make commitments to the public, because it's expected, but quite honestly, the charter is not in tune with the functions and the requirements, really, that the public is putting on their elected officials. So I think the entire thing needs to be looked at.
So you redefine the job in terms of what council people are actually doing, and then you mentioned the public has said no, but of course the public said no to extending term limits, and then later on, under different circumstances, when that was brought up again, the public said yes.
Sure, and so that's why I would say absolutely. I mean, the discussion needs to be had. How it takes form, I know there's been all kinds of formulas, and how do you do it without raising taxes? How do you do it without creating budget deficits and the like? Well, that'll have to be looked at, but the reality, I think the discussion it would be a timely one to have at some point in the future. But honestly, Jack, there are so many other issues that are so much more important than that, and that don't have time to wait. We talked about it during the break. Budget issues, what's happening to us at the federal level, at the state level. Those are issues that we have to tackle today, and then we can move forward to other discussions later.
All right, Councilman Ray Lopez. Challenger Steve Shamblen, same question for you. Where are you on a full-time paid mayor and council?
Well, I'm part of the crowd that was against it a long time ago, and I'm still against it. In fact, I have made it publicly known that if I am elected, as part of my commitment to help us reduce the budget, I'm going to accept no wages anyway. I know they're low wages, but I won't accept them.
You're giving back the $20.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what about people have said, well, all right, maybe we should expand the size of the per council person office staff, that the council person could choose to either take it as salary or pay for aides and so forth. Where do you stand on that?
Actually, I kind of like the way it is now. I haven't been in there, so I don't know if the job is actually going to require more people to do it or not. So I really can't give you an honest answer on it.
All right, Steve Shamblen, thank you very much. Next round of questions comes from Greg Jefferson, and we'll start with Steve Shamblen.
Okay. District 6 has seen some of the most explosive growth in the city over the last decade. So Steve, what problems do you see that kind of population growth presenting to the district, and what do you propose doing about it?
Well, from what I saw on the census map, most of the areas that have the growth are pretty well developed right now. We have a lot of areas that can be developed still, but I think that the biggest problem we're going to have is crime. I mean, the more people you get in an area, the more crime you get. That's just the way it is.
What kind of crimes are you hearing about as you go about your campaign?
I'm hearing a lot about graffiti, a lot of prostitution, burglaries.
Okay. And what do they want done? I mean, constituents.
They want the police to do something, but the police can't seem to do more, so they go after the council people or anything.
So you're talking about increased patrols?
Yeah, I think we need more police. Yeah.
And where do you think? I mean, it seems like you're headed into kind of a tough budget cycle. I mean, where do you find the money for additional, police officers?
Well, to tell you the truth, the last time I looked at the budget, there was something like 25 police officers that were going to be added this year. In the coming years, because of the bad budget that we're going to be facing, it would just depend on how much we could cut out and save from other places to help fund it. The police and the fire are two of the biggest people that take from the budget anyway.
Right. Okay, thank you. All right, Ray, same question for you. What problems do you see the population growth in your district presenting, and what do you want to
Sure.
do about it?
Well, there's all kinds of challenges and problems. Some of those quote unquote problems are good ones, right? We are experiencing growth. Many parts of the state and the country are not. They're shrinking. Our region in general is benefiting from that. Again, a problem in the sense that it brings, as Steve says, crime. It brings a lot of other issues. The two things I think that are most critical that we've got to identify really are things that came out of our SA 2020 initiative, and the public was obviously always, again, right on target. They talked about transportation and they talked about education as being the two primary issues that we've got to deal with over the course of the next decade. In the course of the next decade, I also expect District 6 in particular, are the, if you will, the Westover area, the SeaWorld area, to be the primary focus of the growth. For a lot of reasons, it's off of the aquifer. It's there's a lot of advantage in that direction. We have the 151 corridor that has been kind of placed right up and down the spine, if you will, of District 6, which kind of encourages growth in that direction. But the growth that is happening out there, quite honestly, we don't have an infrastructure to support today. I sit on the MPO on behalf of the city, along with 3 of my colleagues. And the discussions that we're having, as a matter of fact, I'll be in a meeting today discussing how we go about allocating the funds, the limited funds that are being made available to us from the state and at the federal level, and what kind of projects we want to be developed. Mass transit clearly is one of those things we're going to have to address. Everybody can come across with all their reasons that, or the things that they want and don't want. We'll have toll road discussions. We'll have light rail, heavy rail, and all those kinds of things. But the reality is we've got to address it.
Where do you land on tolls?
On tolls? Oh, I land on the side with everybody else. I hate tolls. Reality is, what I don't hate is what they buy. And they buy lanes, they buy traffic or congestion removal. And they buy things that we absolutely need, to continue to survive. Tolls are not the first source of funding that we should be looking at. As a matter of fact, we look at them simply because we have to. Within the NPO requirements, we have to have a long-term plan for development. That long-term plan cannot have a project on it unless it is identified with some level of funding that's reasonable. Not that's popular necessarily, but that's reasonable. And there are a lot of sources, right? Whether it's safety lube allocations from the federal level, state allocations from various sources, a lot of debate around the gas tax that's out there today. There's a lot of sources of revenue, and I think the last one that we should be considering is toll roads. But indeed, it is a funding mechanism. It is something that we have to consider. We're going to put those projects in our 25-year plan.
All right, 11:38 on KTSA. We're back with our District 6 candidates after we get a headline check from Karen on KTSA.